What is good, everyone? This is Ardicer from Ardicer Gaming, and in this video I will be showing my Werewolf build for the Clockwork City update. There's been some changes to the Werewolf, and not Werewolf in particular, but to the heavy armor passives. As a Werewolf you have to pull from both Magicka and Stamina abilities. Magicka in order to heal, Stamina in order to do damage. And the only passive we had which kinda was adding up to that was the Wrath passive, and they removed that. The Wrath passive would in the past would give you both 200 spell damage and weapon damage, so you could do bigger heals and bigger damage, and that has been removed. So that's kind of the reason that I don't recommend playing this solo. Like with one or two other people would be fine if they can keep their figure up on you, or if you have a Templar that can do the Breath of Life if needed, but I have found a way to at least somehow get some healing back, but it's not enough to run this solo against like 3 people like it could be done in the past. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First things first, we're still a Wood Elf for the poison resistance and the recovery. Here's the poison resistance and the max stam, and then the recovery is on this one, 21%. Werewolf is very heavy on the resources, so having 21% more stam recovery is very much appreciated. For our food, we are running the dubious Cameron Throne. It gives the max health, the max stam, and the stam recovery. And we running the Warrior Mundstone for more weapon damage. Now I will show you the buff stats real quick. It's not that big of a deal to show this right now because this is a Werewolf build. But yeah, you kind of want to see this to know what you're going on when you're not a Werewolf. So these are the stats on the back bar. No, that's not right. These are the stats on the back bar. Sorry for that. And on the front bar we'll be having this. Alright, then I will go over the gear right now. Using a Maelstrom Maul, don't really need that. You could use, and I think when I eventually get it I will use that, is a Silent Greatsword. Because we don't really, you know, attack with this, but when we do it still does some decent damage. But I'd recommend the Asylum Greatsword for the ulti regen and for more healing from being a greatsword over a maul. Poisons here, you don't need to run these, you can literally use any enchant on this as you want. Using the Salvation set, I've started out with a Nern Sword this time. The Nern Sword over an Infused. I was using an Infused not too long ago, but this thing procs on cooldown with the damage enchantment, but as soon as you transform it, for some reason it doesn't proc on cooldown, and sometimes it just doesn't proc at all on your first light attack, so that's very weird. I don't know if it's a bug. I did report it to ZeniMax, but yeah, you know how these things goes. This will be looked at like in half a year or something. So this would have been great to up in my spell and weapon damage. I can reach to about 2300 spell damage with this, but it's very unreliable. So I decided to go with a Nern Sword to have that weapon and spell damage up to, the whole time. Not as big as the other one, but it's there the whole time, so it's more reliable. And I can slot the Disease enchant on this to have a chance of proccing Minor Devile, so that's great as well. Using the shield on this one, I'm using all triglyphs on every body piece that I have to up in the Magicka to pull more heals. That's basically what it's for. I have 2 medium Bloodspawn. Also all triglyphs, and then I'm running the Armor of Truth set. The Armor of Truth gives you more weapon damage after you've set a target off balance. You can do this very easy as a werewolf because your fear also sets people off balance, so that's why I did it. Then on this one, it's Bloodspawn as well. I have, I believe, 3 well-fitted pieces, if I'm not mistaken. 1, 2, 3, 4 well-fitted. I should probably change one to impen to, you know, don't need that many well-fitted pieces. So best to be 4 impen and 3 well-fitted. Then I'm using the Salvation Jewelry, 1 with weapon damage and 2 with stam recovery. We need that stam recovery to sustain, guys. These are what the stats look like in werewolf form. Absolutely ridiculous, and you can mow down everything with this. Like I said, really high physical and spell resistance. When the Volatile Armor runs out, you lose 5k of that, but it will come back if you have a Stam Warden on your group. Weapon damage goes from 3k all the way up to 4k. So yeah, all in all, really solid damage with this one. So now I will show you the potions that I'm currently using to counter out the loss in healing we have in this patch. We're using the Butterfly Wings, the Script Jelly and the Torchbox Thorax to create these Essence of Lingering Health. This will add a heal over time, as well as give us major vitality to increase the healing we do with Herseat's Rage. Going over the skills real quick. On this bar, Refurb Bash, this is to put Major Defile on people, so we can do Major Defile with this skill, and we can do Minor Defile with our weapon proc. So that's a lot of damage reduction. Normally that will be a total of 45, but I've invested my champion points in Bevile, and now I can do 44 healing reduction on this skill, and I can do 22 on my weapon proc. So altogether I can debuff someone's healing for 66%. Like I said, I wouldn't run this solo, but if you do run this solo, you have very high chances of getting people down because they just literally cannot heal themselves anymore. Rest of the skills, nothing has changed. The Resolving Figure for the heal, Igneous for the major mending, Heroic Slash for the minor maim and the minor heroism to get our ulti up, Volatile Armor for our resistances, and Werewolf Berserker because this gives more damage on light attacks. Fully procced, it does 20k damage over 8 seconds, so that's a really strong dot. Front bar, we have Rally, can go forward momentum on this if you want to. Stampede for Gap Closer, Noxious Breath for another dot, and for some fracture on the target. I occasionally change this one with this one, Efficiency Purge, to cleanse 2 negative effects from me and my group. Like I said, I don't really attack with this bar, so it's more of like a utility bar for me. And for the rest of it, I'm using Dizzying Swing for stun and some burst damage, but I mostly stun people with Refurb Bash, which is on the back bar. And Reverse Slice for an execute, and we're still using Take Flight as our ultimate on the front bar. Showing the werewolf skills now. That's wrong. Only changed one morph. We still have Feral Pounce for a Gap Closer, and when an enemy is off balance, you stun them. Also, this adds 4 seconds to the duration of the werewolf, so a very useful skill. Then Herseat's Rage for our heal is showing 8k now. I can get it up to around 10. Not that big of a deal really, but yeah, it's just right enough of healing. You know, you can't like, you won't be up in front of a group and just spam this thing and the whole group will be like, whoa man, look at this werewolf, it's healing. No, it's really not that much. I wouldn't rely on it too much. That's why I keep saying don't run this solo and go total beast mode. The extra 10% weapon damage is really great. That's how we, you know, werewolf in itself benefits so much from weapon damage. This is another 10% buffing that. So that's really a lot. Then we go for our fear. Fears 3 enemies, it sets them off balance as well, so it procs our Armor of Truth set. We gain Major Brutality with this to up in our weapon damage for 20%, so we can maintain that buff. So it's really great. And we have Howl of Agony. This is our burst. Yeah, it's kind of like Wrecking Blow, equal damage, but this thing does over 40% more damage to targets that are currently feared. It's saying 30 right here in the tooltip, but as we remember from the fear itself, it also sets people off balance, and in the champion points we have the Exploiter passive, and that's another 10% to targets that are currently off balance. So when you fear a target, it is both feared and set off balance, so that's a total of 40% more damage towards them. In total, that's around 22k tooltip value damage. So yeah, if you land 2 of these on a feared target, they're dead. And then we have Claws of Anguish, really key to this build. I had Claws of Life in the past, and then would be in front of a Zerg and then swap it on anyone, and I couldn't die anymore. But with this thing, it's a little different. I swap this on the targets and they can't heal anymore. So that's really great, especially if you do not run this solo, because you just, you know, jump in, you Claws of Anguish everyone, you fear everyone, and then some DKs or whatnot will leave the group and they can't recover from that anymore. Going over the passives real quick, stamina of your heavy attacks that have been restored, it's increased by 100%. In total, it's around 7k, but downside is the Werewolf heavy attack. It's extremely slowly, so you can restore 7k stamina if you're low, but be careful when you're doing this. What you can do is going heavy attack with a Howl of Agony for some insane burst combinations. Then using Devour for adding duration to our transformation. Blood Rage is to increase our duration as well. This basically keeps us in werewolf form as long as we take damage. Then Blood Moon to bite someone else if you want to. Savage Strength, increase your weapon damage by 80%. Like I said, the werewolf benefits a lot from weapon damage, so this is another 80%. In total, the werewolf benefit has an increase of 53% of weapon damage you put on it. So, like if you put 100 weapon damage on you in werewolf form, you will have an extra of 153 weapon damage instead. So it's really great. And then Call of the Pack. If you run in the werewolf circle, which is absolutely hilarious, you can't run out of werewolf anymore if your werewolf group is 4 or bigger. For some reason it says up to a maximum of 80%, but so if you read this, you would say, oh, I still run out of werewolf, but you just don't. So yeah, run Imperial City with like 4 werewolves and you're actually kicking ass. So that's it for the skills. Okay, champion points, guys. Going over this very quickly. Warlord 40 points into that. Arcanist 19, Tenacity 27. Moonclaw 56. Befoul, really important, 62. To increase the effectiveness of healing reductive abilities. Tumbling 26 for some roll dodges. Blessed 32. The most important thing is spell precision on this one. This will make your heals crit more often, so you don't want to go any lower than 32. Then on this bar we have Physical Weapon Experts, Master at Arms 75, Shattering Blows 18. And this unlocks Tactician. When you roll dodge an attack, you set an enemy off balance. So this will proc your Armor of Truth. And in PvP, you can just roll dodge randomly and someone will be set off balance. So it will proc your set for 10 seconds. So you're good when you do that. Like I said, a Werewolf Fear will proc it as well, but you're not a werewolf all the time. So you can dodge roll this in human form and proc your set this way. Then we have 37 into Mighty and 41 into Piercing. And then on this bar, 48 into Ironclad, 39 into Resistance. RD, Elemental Defender, and Fixed Skins to gain a total of 120 points for Unchained passive. Sorry about that. And on this bar we have 15 left into Recovery. So that will be it for this werewolf build for the Clockwork City update. If any questions remain unanswered, be sure to drop them down in the comment section below. And please hit that like button if you did like, and subscribe to support the channel. Have a good one. Ardicer out.